So did you know that you could run 4 to 10 goats per acre on your land? It's all about managing, maintaining, and taking care of your property. And that's what we've done with goats. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bonham Tx. I'm Josh, and we appreciate you guys clicking on this video. Well, a question I get asked a lot is, how many goats can I graze per acre? And I'm going to tell you guys kind of what we do here, how many acres we got, how many goats we graze, and what it looks like for us, and maybe what you can look forward to on your place grazing goats on your own land. Let's get these goats to follow us, and I'm going to show you guys a new pasture I'm going to turn them out on and let them graze at. Woo! Come on! They'll follow us down here, and we're going to go out here and kick them out on a pasture that they have not been on in a while, and I'll show you just how high the grass is and what they got to graze out there. This pasture right here is a pretty lush pasture, and in this pasture out here they've got about 6 acres to graze. You can see now that the goats are starting to come in this pasture, and they have not been in here in a few months. So this is a pasture that we have to graze, and this is the way that we can utilize our pastures as how many goats we can put on here to graze this land. If you guys are new here for the first time, go down, like, subscribe, share our video. We raise goats here in Texas, and we share how we raise them, what we do, what works for us, what don't work for us. Would appreciate it if you come along, follow along with us, help us out, help us grow this channel. We got tons of video on goats. We got over 235 videos that contain the goats. There's something you're going to find in there that might help you, something that you can learn from, and we would really appreciate it if you would help us reach our goal of getting to 100,000 subscribers. That's our goal. We want to get there. We want to help teach people, inform them on goats, and grow this channel. And you can do that by liking, subscribing, and sharing our videos. So to just try to give you a little bit of example, which there's still a lot of grazing out here where they've been at, and you can kind of see they've ate this down, but there's still a lot of grazing here to do. But on this new part that I've opened up, you can see this taller grass. It's a good 18 inches tall, and they got a lot more to graze out here. It's a lot thicker, a lot more weeds have popped up since they haven't been on it. So did you know that you could run 4 to 10 goats per acre on your land? That's right. You can run 10 goats depending on the amount of forage, and I'm going to go show you a place where you could put 10 goats on per acre and run those goats and help clean your place up. So it's all going to depend on the forage that you have available, the amount of acreage, and what your goats can do. So right now we are kind of under goat, I guess you could say, because I've got goats on different grazing projects. I've got one group on a place, I've got some goats on my property, and I've got about 21 head over here on 40 acres. So at the stocking rate that we're at right now, we are way under. On this place right here, 40 acres, you could easily run 4 goats per acre. So out here on this land, we could easily run well over 100 goats. We have the grass, we have the pastures broke up, and if we had that many goats, we could graze that many head per acre here on our place. Isn't that a pretty sight right there? You got your goats turned out on some fresh grass that they haven't grazed. They've got plenty to eat. They're all looking good. They're getting ready for breeding season coming up here in just a few short weeks. And that's what I like to see. Plenty of grass. Goats are looking good, ready to be bred in the fall for New Year babies. So as these goats are grazing, realistically, we run 65 acres of our own land, and we're running 50 head on those 65 acres. So we are way undergrazed. We're running 1.3 head per acre for our ground. And as you can see behind me, the grass is lush, the goats got plenty to graze, and we really need to up our stocking rate. So we need more goats to graze our land to keep it sufficient and keep the grass the way we want it. So when we first got into goats, we wanted to get into goats because we wanted to clean our place up. And that's exactly what they done for us. So we had a goal in mind. Once we got the place cleaned up and got everything established, got fences, got the pastures set up to be rotated, and we wanted to go into the breeding program. So we are a breeding stock. We offer goats for sale for breeding, but you got to have a purpose for what you're doing. And whether you have a half an acre to 1,000 acres, you got to have a purpose for what you're doing. Are you doing this for meat, brush control, hobby, breeding, raising breed stock? What you're doing, find out what you're going to be doing and have a purpose with it and develop that from there. So as we got into goats for our brush control, our operation has gotten bigger over the years, but we can really run more goats. I want to be sufficient with our land, but I don't want to overgraze it. So you don't want to have too many goats on not enough land, and then you get no grass. They wipe out the grass, there's nothing there for them to eat, and then you're in a problem where you're feeding, you're putting hay out when you shouldn't be, and you don't want that to happen. So you got to find a happy medium of where you're at, what your land has to offer, and what you can stock per acre. So the type of goats that we run here are a meat goat. They're Kiko goats. They're a large frame type goat, and the amount of goats that we can run per acre is going to be determined on the amount of ground that we got to graze, the grass that we have. But if you run a smaller goat, like maybe a dwarf or a smaller type, pygmy type goat, you can run more goats per acre. So if I'm out here grazing a smaller breed goat, I could double my stocking rate because they're a smaller goat. These Kiko goats, they're a great goat. They're hardy, they're grazers, they're good mamas, they're parasite resistant, and they've just really worked well for us. We have went out, and when we first got into them, we started off with different types of goats, and these are what fit us for what we're doing and have worked really well for us. When I was talking about 10 goats per acre, I want to show you a little neighboring property that's next to us that have never had goats on it, and you can tell right off the bat, you can't hardly see through that stuff. It's thick, it's full. I'm going to flip you around and show you. This property right here is just full of vines, underbrush, thick. And as you look across to our place, when you cross over, you can see how the goats have come in here and really cleaned up and took care of this place and got it to where we can manage these fields. This right here is a goat's paradise. They love this stuff right here. This underbrush, these vines, poison ivy, they will attack that and clean that up, and that's where we got started in the goat business right there. So the goats come in here for us and helped us establish a good fence line, and we was able to clean it up, get it fenced off for goats, and that's what those goats can do for that property next to us, is really get that cleaned up. And that's where you can run a lot of goats per acre. and they can get that cleaned up and get it taken care of to where you can manage it. And you're going to see, once they do that, you're going to see a lot of undergrowth. You're going to see a lot of new grasses come in. Your pastures are going to get better, and they're going to look really clean like what we have over here. Neighboring property, our property. Clean, as high as you can reach down. They've got that taken care of, and the grasses are thick, full. Pastures are thick and full, and there's plenty to graze out here, and they've been on this property right here for over 20 days. So in order to keep those good lush pastures, what we do here is we rotational graze. So we're keeping an eye on this pasture. We're trying to keep the worm load down, because all goats are going to have worms, and we want to keep the grass as good as we can. So we've had these goats over here for 20 days. It's time to close this pasture, and you've seen where I put them at a while ago, so they're going to be able to graze that for several days. It's all about managing, maintaining, and taking care of your property, and that's what we've done with goats. Is we've come in here, set this up, and utilize our land to rotational graze and get this to where we can manage it and have plenty of grass all the time. Like I said, we're severely understocked. We could take more goats in and have plenty of grass for them to graze. And you might say, Josh, well, that's easy for you to say. You've got plenty of land to run your goats on. Well, I would like to have more, but that's just not the case. I've got a small pasture over here I'm going to go show you, and I'll show you how we run bucks on really small acreage. So I've got 2 bucks in here right now, and the grass is plenty tall, and they have a shelter over there, and they have plenty to graze throughout the year. In the winter time, we do have to do some supplementing, because we put hay out for them, which we put hay out for our older does too. But these bucks right here, they run on a little over half an acre. These guys right here stay content, they look good, and they've got plenty to graze in this little small trap. So these bucks right here, they're going to stay here pretty much all year. They're going to be pulled out here in just a couple of weeks, and they're going to be turned in with the does for breeding, get the does bred, and they're going to be right back in this place. So they pretty much stay throughout the year right here on this little bitty trap. So this little bitty half acre holds these 2 bucks 9 months out of the year. So on this little place right here where we keep our bucks at, I wouldn't be afraid to graze, I don't know, 5 or 6 does. But what I'd want to do is, I'd want to be able to kind of cut it in half. I just have one big square place in here. I'd want to cut it in half so I could move them back and forth. But I wouldn't be afraid to run 4 or 5 does in here throughout the year. Yeah, whenever the grass dies out and you got to put hay out, you're going to have to do that. But you could run 4 to 5 does on 1/2 to 3/4 of an acre right here, and I feel like that would be enough grass to keep them throughout. So I hope this video helps you out. Hope it kind of tells you where we're at and what we're doing with ours, where our stocking rate is, how many we run per acre, how many we can run per acre, and what it might look like if you decide to put goats on your place. How many goats you think you might be able to run, what your forage looks like, what your brush looks like, just to show you a few examples of what we have and what we've done. I hope this video helps you out. Appreciate you watching, and as always, we'll catch you guys on the next one.